Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You, of course, can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. You lucky people. Welcome to Saturday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily. I'm glad you're enjoying these videos. For those of you, those few people, those wonderful few people who appreciate those videos, and I thank you for that support. And of course, if I ever say something you don't approve of or agree with, you can comment down below. You can correct me. We can have a nice little chat. I will never, ever be offended about people who disagree with me. In fact, I want people to come in and be honest about how the videos are going for you. No point telling me about the quality of the picture or the sound. That's kind of, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm working on a tablet, of course, so that's that. Anyway. Today, with no further ado, we talk about Russell T Davies', I think, two of his greatest achievements are the season 1 double finale. Bad Wolf, well, I think it's called Bad Wolf anyway, and the finale, the real finale, the parting of the ways. So first of all, I want to talk about Bad Wolf. How do you write about something that you hate, right? Because it's clear from Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways that Russell T Davies fucking hates reality TV. Now, if Chris Chibnall did this, it would be a lecture. But Russell actually exposes reality television for the ruthless, cruel fucking thing that it actually is. Now, I like reality TV, but it's ruthless and it's cruel to the contestants. We mock them, we laugh at them. They're on there not because of the best people or talented or intelligent. They're on there to be mocked. They're literally kind of the world's kind of, they're desperate to get attention and they've never really had it. And once they get it, it goes to their head. But the cruelty those people go through is terrible. And I've seen it so many times. And the suicides that we've seen coming from reality TV, I mean, I think we've had a couple of suicides from Love Island. You know, it's everywhere. And what these people go through, I mean, I was on an Ayia Napa Cypriot reality show called Ayia Napa Raw. Now, this wasn't a big thing. I don't know if you'll find it on YouTube. I doubt it. But this was literally them holding kind of a portable camera around. Right, we all stayed in this big apartment together, and basically we would have to go out all throughout the night till 4 or 5, 6 in the morning to kind of, you know, to see how much we could take. So we'd go out, we'd get drunk, and then we'd go to bed and we'd have to get up at 8 AM and go in the pool, and this is what people were watching to see who could survive. And anyone who couldn't take it anymore, that's it. You would be judged and you'd be kicked off the show. I actually won this show. And so, yeah. So I'm a former Ayia Napa reality star, the winner of Ayia Napa Raw. It was a while back, so I can't remember what year it was. So I've experienced the highs and the lows of reality television. But Russell T Davies, in this two-parter, actually shows us how much he despises the format of reality TV. And he does it in such a fucking great way. This is typical Russell T Davies. Every time he comes up on my Instagram, he's bragging about, you know, winning another fucking award. It's amazing. I'm so happy he's coming back. Not just about the ratings and the awards we're going to get an uplift of, but he's just a genius. Anyway, so we go into this Doctor Who episode and we see Captain Jack on his reality show. It's one of those, it's that Trini and Susanna thing, isn't it? Then Rose is on the weakest link. Is that where she is? Yeah, she's on the weakest link. And I mean, the android is, again, you know, Russell T Davies looking at the cruelty of what Anne Robinson does. Now, it's not so much as bad as other reality shows, but she does talk down to people on that show, or she did. Now, I loved The Weakest Link, and I used to think Anne was hilarious the way she spoke to people. But there is an element of cruelty and bullying to it, if you think about it. That show could not work today, because people would just, because of the snowflake environment we live in now, and I'm not saying that to be derogatory to people, but that wouldn't happen now. And so you've got, and then you've got, who's in the, and the Doctor, of course. How can I forget the Doctor? And the Doctor's literally in Big Brother. And there's many houses in this version, because of course this is on a platform in outer space. And so, you know, the Doctor decides that he's going to misbehave so he can get evicted, so he can find out what's going on. It's only then when the Doctor finds out an eviction in this world means you get evaporated, or so he thought. That's not what happens, but it actually looks like they're being killed once they're being evicted. But he finds out that's not the case, because they, the android, we think the android kills Rose. Of course, we knew she wasn't dead, but she's just being transmatted. That's all it is. It's a transmat. But initially, you actually think they're being executed once they lose a game. So, and Russell T Davies is just literally showing you how much he hates reality TV. And as I say, he doesn't do it in a lecturing Chris Chibnall way. Reality TV is bad, kids, like the ending of the He-Man cartoons. Well, today you saw us talk about bullying and you shouldn't bully. That's great. Actually, those lectures were great. Chibnall couldn't even do it with the Masters of the Universe nuance from the 80s, right? But Russell T Davies doesn't lecture us. This is what Russell T Davies does with his writing. He tells you, I don't like this. I'm not telling you you don't have to like it. And I'm actually, within my storytelling and my unique ability to write something, I'm going to show you why I don't like it. Now, if you like reality TV, that's great. It's up to you. So what he does, he makes it fun. He looks like he's kind of poking fun and taking it to an extreme. But really what Russell is actually doing, and I'm sure many people don't see through what Russell's attempting to do. He's just saying, I don't like it. You can like it, but this is my attitude towards it. And he does it, when we see these different games, we see the cruelty. Really, he's showing us the cruelty and the ruthlessness of reality TV. And even in the reality show that I was on, it's pretty ruthless, and a lot of people had a hard time with it, especially a show where you've got to go out, get pissed, and then get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and start swimming and look like you're having fun. And then they judge you to see who's coping with it the best, and if you're not getting up on time, because that's what it is. It's a Groundhog Day thing, and it gets to you. That's what reality TV is. It's a Groundhog Day scenario, trapped with the same people again and again and again. And I mean, in the early years of Big Brother, I was obsessed. I really wanted to be on Big Brother, but I never got past the auditions. But what's fascinating about it, and I was fascinated by this concept of people being trapped with each other. That's why I wrote a story that I wanted to be a TV series called Trapped, and it's about people, waking up to find metal, mysterious metal-looking walls blocking the exits and the entrances of the town of Redsford. Redsford, I named that after my beloved Manchester United, Redsford. Do you get it? Anyway, we're going off the subject. So this is what Russell does. So in the first episode, Bad Wolf, he does this whole thing showing you how ruthless and cruel reality TV is. Then it's brilliant. But then what he does is he moves away from that concept and starts to tell his story. Now, normal writers, you would say this first part of this finale would be dragging and boring. It's a filler. But Russell doesn't do that, because his writing can never be boring, and he can make a filler look like a non-filler you haven't noticed. So we get to the finale called The Parting of the Ways, because we know Chris is going. And I was devastated about this, and I never accepted David Tennant until The Last of the Time Lords. I always loved him as the Doctor, but he was never my Doctor to The Last of the Time Lords, because Chris was just so magnificent. Chris never put a foot wrong as the Doctor, and Russell wrote for him, and the other writers wrote for him, A-OK. He was awesome. It really affected me when he left, like it affected me when Peter Davison stepped down as the Doctor and we got Colin Baker. I was never a fan of Colin Baker. I was never a fan of how they wrote for him. That wasn't my hero. He wasn't, eventually he kind of thawed, but yeah, I didn't stick with Colin Baker or Sylvester McCoy. I took a rest from Doctor Who during those two eras. But you're not a real Doctor Who fan then. Well, I'm not a real Doctor Who fan then. I think lots of people have taken a break when they didn't like certain Doctors, right? It's certainly happening now with Jodie. And so everyone has their favourite Doctors. So, yeah, you get the parting of the ways, and this is a huge story because Russell takes Christopher Eccleston's Doctor... Sorry, let me say that again. Russell takes Christopher Eccleston's Doctor full circle. At the beginning of the series, we find out he literally killed the Daleks and the Time Lords to stop the whole universe from being destroyed. Well, now, when he meets the Emperor of the Daleks, right, he's got another opportunity, but this time, if he does what he's about to do, set that bomb off, he's going to destroy the whole universe. And basically someone's, the Emperor of the Dalek is literally daring him to do it. And he goes, you'll kill everyone. And the Doctor says, well, there'll be life somewhere. Human life always survives, or whatever, or life survives, life endures. But if I let you do this, everyone will become a Dalek. So, and then he turns to Jack, he goes, you see, Jack, these are the choices I have to make. They're not fun. They're not cool, but someone has to make those choices. So it's like what he says to Rose early on in the season. Who's going to make these choices? You, while you're eating chips and stuff? Because human beings have got their heads severely stuck up their backsides. Look at us. Most of the time we're on Twitter, getting angry and heated over shit. So we're not really looking what's going on in the world. We're not even asking enough questions. And that's the problem. And so he's got this opportunity and he comes full circle. But he decides not to do it in the end. And that's brilliant. Never would, never will. How does he say it to Captain Jack? And he smiles. We find out through the Doctor not exploding the bomb that would destroy everything that he's come full circle now. He's not the man who destroyed Gallifrey and killed the Time Lords and the Daleks. Rose has taught him so much about the world, about compassion and love. He's more compassionate because he's mixed with other people, because he's mixed with Rose and Mickey and Jackie and Captain Jack. And this is the difference between being lonely. The moral of the Doctor's story, whoever's played him in whatever era, is when the Doctor's on his own, it doesn't work for him. He does bad things. When we're on our own, we get sucked into our own minds, and it isn't good for us. Now, that's happened to me. Now, for many people across the world, we don't, sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes we're in stages of our lives where no one wants to know us and we're on our own, and we have to be strong enough to not allow us to soak in the negativity. And that's, of course, difficult. I've been there. I've rented a room in the UK and I was on my own and I didn't have much money and my friends turned their backs on me. Very, very hard. And my family didn't want to know and no one wanted to help me. It was your own fault, Mick. It was my own fault, but I don't expect people just to leave me there, right, to suffer and stew in my own juice. But this is what happens. So the moral of the Doctor's story is that loneliness can be, can really destroy a person. And this is why they always say, and Russell in his writing always says, you need someone, be with someone. I'm not the biggest fan of the companion concept. I'm a kind of person who likes my alone time, who likes my own company. I enjoy that. But I like the fact that the Doctor does need someone. But I'm not necessarily obsessed with the companion. The companion has never ever been my way into getting into Doctor Who. The Doctor is the Doctor. For me, I watch Doctor Who for the Doctor, not the companion. People always obsess about the companions and argue about which one's the best. Well, for me, it's about the Doctor, and I don't care who plays the Doctor. The Doctor is the Doctor. The Doctor is the reason I love Doctor Who. Fascinating character, but there is a great moral about loneliness with the Doctor, and I think that's absolutely fascinating and true. When he was in the Time War, he had no companion, no friends. He was on his own. He got old, he got bitter, he got twisted. He was focused on the mission of protecting the universe from the Daleks. And so when he decides not to blow up the whole universe, he's learned something. He's gone full circle, and it's great really because we get this regeneration episode and he's literally learned something. He's become a better man, he's become a better version of the Doctor. He's at peace, and then he kisses Rose when she becomes Bad Wolf. He knows what's going to happen. I think you need a Doctor. I love that moment. So magical, so typical of the positivity in Russell T Davies' storytelling heart. He gives them a kiss, but they're kissing for another reason, right? They're not kissing for the sake of kissing. Because I think Tennant's Doctor and Billy kissed, but then again, she was Cassandra, wasn't she? So I don't think they actually kissed, ever. It's like when Martha kisses the Doctor, there was another reason for it, so he could take up all the energy stuff, right, in her first episode. Was it Mr. Smith and Dr. Jones, or whatever it was, that first episode that Martha was in. Anyway, getting back to the point. So he's made the decision, he's ready to go as this version of the Doctor. Because lots of people always say, oh, it's easy for the Doctor, he's indestructible, he can regenerate. It's not as easy as that. We've seen how difficult it is for the Doctor to die. and regenerate again. And he has to come to terms with a new version of his or herself. So it's always difficult to regenerate. It's not that easy. The Doctor would rather not regenerate. But ultimately, he can live again. But he's different. He looks different. He feels different. He talks different. So it's difficult. And so, as he regenerates, he comes to terms that it's time to renew himself, to evolve as a person. That's what's happened, and that's the intelligence and genius of Russell T Davies' writing. And so we get a kind of a comic relief special when Eccleston becomes Tennant and Rose is standing there. And she basically asks if he can go back to looking like Eccleston. And she goes, and she goes, well, can you? And he goes, no, sorry. That's the brutality of it. When your friends change and become new people, isn't it? It's like, I had this group of friends. I loved them. We went everywhere. We had a laugh. It became very stale very quickly. We changed, so we couldn't be friends anymore. And that really is such a hard moment to realise we're not the people who hung out. We're not the people with all these memories. We've become different people. And we've become aloof from each other and cold-hearted towards each other. And that's a very difficult thing to come to terms with. So Rose is looking at this man, who is the Doctor, but doesn't feel like the Doctor to her. Do you get it? Rose is us. We're basically looking at David Tennant's Doctor when we first see him and saying, you're not our Doctor. You're not that 6-foot Norman-speaking guy that we love. We don't want you. That's what Rose is saying to the 10th Doctor. Of course, she comes to love him, as we all did, as the whole world did, even people who had never watched Doctor Who pre that moment. But at that moment, this is why Doctor Who is a very difficult show to be a fan of, because you get used to a certain version of the Doctor, even the versions you don't like. And when they change, you've got to hold your breath and hope they're being played by the right people and written by the right people. So it's a very, very interesting show to be a fan of in that context, because the change always happens, and because it's ever changing, it's 3 seasons and it's changing. I mean, it's already been around for quite a long time, and I'm talking about the revivals, right? I mean, we're talking about 2005, 2015, that's 10 years. I mean, it's been around for about 16 years now, I think, you know. Amazing. So in 2025, it would be 20 years. I'm showing my age now. I'm nearly 49, October the 26th. Don't forget my birthday. If you want to wish me happy birthday, that would be cool. It would make me feel cool. But anyway, and so what's happening in that comic relief bit is Rose is us. We're not sure if we want this Doctor, this good-looking, wavy hair, smooth-talking little arsehole. No, we want the gruff, northern 9th Doctor. But just like Rose finds out, we will never see that Doctor again in live action, or maybe we will, but he will never be the main Doctor again, although funnier things have happened, who knows, with Russell coming back, but unlikely. So Doctor Who, watching Doctor Who when the Doctor regenerates from one actor to another, is like accepting somebody close to you dying. When someone close to you dies, you start to sit there and think, I'm never going to see you again, I can never speak to you again, and I can never feel your touch again, we can never embrace again. And that's what it's like when we lose a version of the Doctor. That's why I think Matt Smith's final monologue that Moffat wrote is the best I've ever heard in Doctor Who history. We all change, if you think about it. And we become different people all throughout our lives. And that's okay, you've got to keep on moving, as long as you don't forget the person you used to be. I will never forget when the Doctor was me. It's a brilliant speech because it pretty much sums up life. So he kind of, Moffat, by making Smith say this brilliantly as he does, it makes you cry if you think about it, because it's true. But it's also true for the Doctor, because it sums up the revival, if you like, and the concept of what Doctor Who is. We all change if you think about it. We all change through our lives, and that's okay, but as long as we always remember the person we used to be. That's Doctor Who, isn't it? That the Doctor is the same person, remembering his past, but always embracing his or her future. And that's the thing. So when people keep on saying Doctor Who's about change and you should never look back, people always say never look back. It's wrong. Doctor Who's foundations are in its past, present, and future. And that's the way it should always be. This has been the Doctor Who Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please comment, like, subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll be back tomorrow, which will be Sunday, of course, for more Doctor Who Daily. Until then, goodbye.